Good morning, children. Today I am going to start English Unit 1, The Snake and the Mirror, reading A. The title of this unit is Humor. Humor means to make others laugh by doing funny things and by funny dialogues, funny words. Three lessons are related to humor. First lesson, the snake and the mirror. First, about the author of this lesson, Vaikam Muhammad Bashir. Author of this lesson is Vaikam Muhammad Bashir. He is a Malayali. He was born on 21st January 1908 and passed away on 5th July 1994. Was a Malayalam fiction writer from the state of Kerala in India. He was a humanist, freedom fighter, novelist and short story writer. He is noted for his down-to-earth style of writing that made him equally popular among literary critics as well as the common man. He is regarded as one of the most successful and outstanding writers from India. Translations of his works into other languages have won him worldwide acclaim. The story The Snake and the Mirror was translated into English. His notable works include Balya Kala Sakhi, Sabdangal, Mathulukal and Anarkya Nimisham. Malayalam titles, these are all. He was awarded the Padma Shri in 1982. He is fondly remembered as the Baipur Sultan. Next, important words, difficult words, glossary. Full-blooded, strong. Meager, small in quantity. Solitary, single. Vest, a garment worn under a shirt or a piece of underwear. Gable, upper part of a wall below a sloping roof. Parting, a line on a person's head where the hair is divided with a comb. Pace, to walk up and down many times. Thud, a dull sound made when a heavy object falls. Wriggled, moved by twisting and turning. Slithered, moved or glided. Quarters, parts of the body. Hood, an expanded part of a snake's head. Molten, heated to a very high temperature. Luck, be about, lie in wait. Mascara, a substance put on eyelashes to make them look dark and thick. Vermilion, bright red in color. I was no image cut in granite. The doctor no longer stood there like a statue, a man of flesh and blood. A normal man, that means here the doctor became normal. Ready means not pleasant. Sprinter, a fast runner. Taken with, attracted by. These are the important words you have to learn. Next, if you come to the lesson, the title of the lesson is The Snake and the Mirror. What is the difference between the snake and the mirror and a snake and a mirror? A, ya, the are articles. A and ya indefinite articles. The definite article. So here, if you use a snake and a mirror, a snake means any snake, no clarity at all. A mirror means any mirror, no clarity. But the, when you use the, it is different article. So he is telling about a particular snake and a particular mirror. There is a difference between a snake and a mirror, the snake and the mirror. So here the snake and the mirror. That means the narrator is explaining about a particular snake and a particular mirror in his room. That's why the snake and the mirror title is suitable. In this lesson, main characters: the snake, a homeopathic doctor, and some of his friends. These are the three main characters. Here, the narrator is the homeopathic doctor. Except the first paragraph, the entire lesson is explained by the homeopathic doctor to his friends. Starting, has a snake ever coiled itself round any part of your body? A full-blooded cobra. All of us fell silent. The question came from the homeopath. The topic came up when we were discussing snakes. We listened attentively as the doctor continued with the tale. This paragraph is told by friends, some of the friends of doctor. All of us fell silent. Us here refers to friends of homeopathic doctor. All of us fell silent. The question came from a homeopath. The first one sentence, one question is at beginning. Has a snake ever coiled itself around any part of your body? That the question asked by the homeopathic doctor. On hearing the question, all of his friends, the friends of homeopathic doctor, fell silent. The topic came up when they were discussing snakes. When we were discussing, we refers to the friends of homeopathic doctor. We were discussing snakes. We listened attentively as the doctor continued with the tale. Tale means a story. We are listening the story which is being narrated by the homeopathic doctor. We kept quiet. From next paragraph onwards, the entire story is being narrated by the homeopathic doctor. It was a hot summer night about 10 o'clock. I had my meal at the restaurant and returned to my room. I heard a noise from above as I opened the door. The sound was a familiar one. One could say that rats and I shared the room. I took out my box of matches and lighted the kerosene lamp on the table. In this paragraph, I is mentioned. I refers to the homeopathic doctor who is narrating the story. It was a summer night, hot summer night, the summer season. Time is 10 o'clock. I had taken meals at the restaurant and came back to my room. That means the doctor, after taking meals at a restaurant, came back to his room. When he opened the room and entered, he heard a familiar sound. That was familiar. Every day he listens. It was a familiar sound. One could say that rats and I shared the room. If any new person comes to my room, on seeing it, he simply comes to conclusion that I and some rats are living together. In that way, rats are moving freely in my room. No question of any fear. I took out my box of matches and lighted the kerosene lamp which is on the table. That means there was no power. There was no power in that room. So he lighted the kerosene lamp. The house was not electrified. It was a small rented room. I had just set up medical practice and my earnings were meager. I had about 60 rupees in my suitcase along with some shirts and dhotis. I also possessed one solitary black coat which I was then wearing. So these are my belongings, doctor's belongings. The house was not electrified and it was a small rented room. He started his medical practice a short time ago and his income is also very less. Meager means very less. He had just 60 rupees in his suitcase and along with some shorts and dhotis and one more solitary black coat he has which is worn by him. These are the belongings of that homeopathic doctor. I took off my black coat. Took off means remove. Phrasal verb. White shirt and not so white vest and hung them up. Hung them up means keep them to the wall. Hang, hung, hang, hanged, hanged. Here tenses. Different. I opened the two windows in the room. Okay. After entering the room, he simply removed his gloves and he opened the windows. It was an outer room with one wall facing the open yard. It had a tiled roof with long supporting cables that rested on the beam over the wall. There was no ceiling. There was a regular traffic of rats to and from the beam. I made my bed and pulled it close to the wall. I lay down, but I could not sleep. I got up and went out to the veranda for a little air, but the wind god seemed to have taken time off. Okay, after removing his clothes, he simply arranged his bed near the window. He lay down, but he could not get sleep because there was no air at all. It was very suffocating, humid, sultry. It was very sultry. So there was no ceiling. There was a regular traffic curve. So when I tried to sleep inside room, I could not get sleep. And moreover, rats are moving freely from ceiling to bottom. I got up and went out to the veranda. So because of this inconvenient situation, by not getting sleep, I went out. After that also, I could not get sleep because there was no air outside also. The wind god also seemed to have taken time off. That means outside also it was very sultry. That was the situation at that time. I went back into the room and sat down on the chair. I opened the box beneath the table and took out a book, the Materia Medica. I opened it at the table on which stood the lamp and a large mirror. A small comb lay beside the mirror. So, outside also the doctor could not get sleep because there was also no air. Then he came back to his room, came back to his room and he sat in the chair, sat down on the chair. I opened the box beneath the table and took out. Beneath means under. He opened the box under the table and took took out a medical book. The name of that book is Materia Medica. Materia Medica. I opened it at the table on which stood the lamp and a large mirror. A small comb lay beside the mirror. Okay, I kept that book on the table, and opposite me there was a mirror, and there was a comb beside the mirror. One feels tempted to look into a mirror when it is near. I took a look. In those days, I was a great admirer of beauty, and I believed in making myself look handsome. I was unmarried and was a doctor. I felt I had to make my presence felt. I picked up the comb and ran it through my hair and adjusted the parting so that it looked straight and neat. Again, I heard that sound from above. Okay, it is a common thing for anybody who sits in front of a mirror simply tempts to look into the mirror, to look at his face. And moreover, when I took a look into the mirror, I was a great admirer of beauty and believed in making myself look handsome. So I simply attracted towards my handsome face. I am a bachelor. Moreover, in those days, I was an admirer of beauty. I was unmarried and was a doctor. I felt I had to make my presence felt. I picked up the comb and ran. After watching my face in the mirror, I started to adjust my hairstyle by taking the comb. Again, I heard the same sound from above. The rats are making noise as usual. I took a close look at my face in the mirror. I made an important decision. I took a close look at my face in the mirror. I made an important decision. I would shave daily and grow a thin mustache to look more handsome. I was, after all, a bachelor and doctor. Okay. The second time, again I looked at my face in the mirror. At that time, I took an important decision. What is that important decision? I have to shave daily. I have to maintain my mustache neatly. After all, I am a young bachelor doctor. I took the decision. I looked into the mirror and smiled. It was an attractive smile. I made another earth-shaking decision. Earth-shaking means here very, very important decision. I would always keep that attractive smile on my face to look more handsome, as after all a bachelor and a doctor, two on top of it. Okay, this is the second important decision. When I looked again into the mirror, I simply smiled. It was a beautiful smile. So again I took the second important decision. I have to keep this smile on my face always, because I am a bachelor and handsome. Moreover, I am a doctor. This is the second important decision the doctor had taken. Again came that noise from above. After this also that noise came. It is as usual common. I got up, lit a beedi and paced up and down the room. Then another lovely thought struck me. I would get married yet to a woman doctor who had plenty of money and a good medical practice. She had to be fat for a valid reason. If I made some silly mistake and needed to run away, she should not be able to run after me and catch me. Okay. After taking second important decision, the doctor got up and lit a beedi and started to walk up and down in his room. This time, he got another lovely thought struck me. He got one more important idea. and he wanted to take one more important decision. What is that important decision? He wanted to marry a girl, doctor, a lady doctor. She must have plenty of money, good medical practice. She should be a doctor. She must have plenty of money and good medical practice. Not only these things, she should be fat. She should be fat. Why she should be fat? Why should she be fat? Because if a doctor commits any mistake, he should escape from his wife. If he runs away from his wife when he commits a mistake, his wife should not run along with him. For that purpose, she should be very fat. If she is very fat, she may not run. So I can escape easily. If she is lean and thin, and if she is a good runner, she can catch me and beats me. For that purpose, the doctor wanted that his wife must be very fat. This is the third most important decision the doctor had taken. With such thoughts in my mind, I resumed my seat in the chair in front of the table. There were no more sounds from above. Suddenly, there came a dull thud as if a rubber tube had fallen to the ground. Surely, nothing to worry about. Even so, I thought I would run around and take a look. No sooner had I turned than a fat snake wriggled over the back of the chair and landed on my shoulder. The snake is landing on me and my turning were simultaneous. So, with such thoughts in his mind, he simply came to his chair and sat there in front of the table. There were no sounds from above at the time, but suddenly there was a thud in his room. That means a dull thud as if a rubber tube had fallen to the ground. Surely nothing to worry about. He thought that it is a normal sound. Every time it comes. He thought that. But it is quite a different sound. A snake fell down from the roof. And when he looked at it, at the same time he started to climb up his chair and wriggled over his back of the chair and landed on his shoulder. It came within moments. It happened. A snake fell down and started climbing the chair, and it simply landed on his shoulder. The snake's landing on me and turning are simultaneous. Both things happened simultaneously, immediately, one after that. My turning of head and the snake coming on my shoulder, both happened at the same time. I did not jump, I did not tremble, I did not cry out. There was no time to do any such thing. The snake slithered along my shoulder and coiled around my left arm above the elbow. The hood was spread out and its head was hardly 3 or 4 inches from my face. On observing that snake on my shoulder, I could not do anything. I could not open my mouth, I could not cry, I could not tremble. If any movement is there, it may bite me because it is almost 4 inches away from my face. Not very far, very close to my face. That's why I became a dumb stone statue. I could not do anything. It would not be correct to say merely that I sat there holding my breath. I was turned to stone, but my mind was very active. The door opened into darkness. The room was surrounded by darkness. In the light of the lamp, I sat there like a stone image in the flesh. So, there was no light at all. Outside there was complete darkness. Only a small kerosene lantern is there on his table. In front of that mirror on the chair, he sat there looking like a stone statue. He got frightened He could not do anything. I felt then the great presence of the Creator. I felt then the great presence of the Creator of this world and this universe. God was there. Suppose I said something and He did not like it. I tried in my imagination to write in bright letters outside my little heart the words, "Oh God." Okay, in such kind of a terrible situation, the doctor could not do anything. He could not cry out. He could not tremble because the snake is almost very close, 4 inches away from his face. If he does anything, it may bite. Then he had to do only one thing: pray God. He prayed God, "Oh God, save me. You are the only person to save me." Like that, he prayed God. There was some pain in my left arm. There was some pain in my left arm. It was as if a thick leaden rod, no, a rod made of a molten fire, was slowly but powerfully crushing my arm. The arm was beginning to be drained of all strength. What could I do? So the snake started to coil around his arm and tightening its position. When it was tightening, the doctor was suffering from severe pain. Pain was coming from here. He could not bear that pain. Oh, slowly but powerfully crushing my arm. Crushing is pressing like this. The snake was pressing his hand like that. The arm was beginning drain of all strength. What could I do? So I can't do anything. The pain is becoming slowly more and more. Severe pain. At my slightest movement, the snake would strike me. Death lurked 4 inches away. Suppose it struck. What was the medicine I had to take? There are no medicines in the room. I was but a poor, foolish and stupid doctor. I forgot my danger and smiled feebly at myself. So, I can't do anything at that time. The doctor could not do anything. If he moves, the snake may bite. So, what can I do now? And one more thing, if the snake bites me, what medicine shall I take? I have no medicines also, because I am a poor, foolish, stupid doctor. No medicines. I forgot my danger and smiled feebly at myself. So, in such kind of helpless condition, the doctor started to laugh, smile feebly, means very dull. So, here, there was some pain in my left arm. The sentence, there was some pain in my left arm. What kind of sentence is this? There was some pain in my left arm. 4 kinds of sentences: statement, question, imperative, exclamation. So, what kind of sentence is this? It is a statement. How can you say it is a statement? In statement, subject comes first, verb comes later. So, there was some pain in my room, in my arm, left arm. This is a statement. Can you change this statement into yes or no question? What is yes or no question? Yes or no question should begin with one helping verb. Any helping verb. So, in a sentence, if there is one helping verb in a statement, if there is helping verb, simply you have to reverse that helping verb and subject. You can reverse them. automatically it becomes positive yes no question. Positive yes no question. Here helping verb is there. Simply you have to reverse this there and was helping. Was there some pain in my left arm? Question mark. Was there some pain in my left arm? This is a question. If you have to change this statement to simply reverse these two. There was some pain in my left arm. This is the way of changing a statement to from changing a statement to